Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Garsten, and welcome to episode 140 of Tales from the Beat, where we look at news and PR from both sides of the scrimmage line. And I'm so happy to welcome back our good friend and actually a repeat customer, Noreen Pratscher, who is, let's see, the founder, president, CEO, commissar of Pratscher Communications. But tell folks that don't know you, you've worked for some big companies over your long career.
Thank you so much, Ed. It's good to
Yeah.
see you, and thank you for having me back on. I look
You
forward to the
bet.
conversation.
My
Just
privilege.
a quick refresh about Noreen.
Yeah.
I have a communications degree, and I've spent my entire career in corporate communications, working
Yeah.
for the big guys like General Motors and other Fortune 500 companies like Siemens Healthcare, but also
Oh, yeah.
made my way into smaller businesses, still running communications functions and building
Yeah.
up competencies across the board and across industries. And I loved all of those roles. I've learned so much and
Hmm.
was fortunate to work with some great people. But in 2023, for personal reasons, we moved back to Michigan after traveling around the Southeast. And I
Yeah.
decided the time was right to launch my own consultancy and bring all of that expertise to more clients that I've been loving every
Yeah.
minute of it. It's been a lot of fun.
Amazing. Yeah, yeah, no, you've had an amazing career. So before we get into some sort of meaty issues, I mean, how has things been going? It was what I was looking back. It was November 2023 when you first appeared on the podcast. That was episode 61, so almost 80 episodes ago. And I mean, I can't
You're
believe we're
aging
still
me.
around. Yeah, that's amazing. How have things been going with the business?
They've been going great. As I said, I love working with the diversity of clients and the diversity of projects. So I've been doing everything from writing brand narratives or refreshing brand narratives for organizations, running PR campaigns for new products or services, creating special events to grow brand awareness, and then also working on the internal side on some internal change management and transformation work. So it
Wow,
keeps me busy and it's
that's
been a
great.
lot of fun doing it.
That's great. Congratulations on that. And we're going
Thank
to talk
you.
about some other things that you've done a little bit later, but let's just jump into it because you're on LinkedIn a lot. You take some hard stands about certain issues, and one of the ones that really caught my eye was advising people not to forget about earned media, which is basically getting free coverage over the news media. Why do you even have to say that?
That's a great question, Ed. Thank you. And as you said, earned media is not the same as advertising. Too many
Right.
organizations, I think, equate the two, and they are not
Yeah.
the same.
Yes.
And so the reason that it's so important is with the development of all of these AI tools and platforms,
Mhm.
increasingly they are integrating AI into these platforms. For example, the AP recently signed an agreement with OpenAI and Microsoft and Google. And
Mhm.
so your company's visibility is now dependent not just on an earned media strategy, but a strategic earned media strategy in terms of how well those journalists in these licensed platforms
Right.
are covering your company and your organization. And visibility is the very start of creating customers. If they don't know you, they won't buy
Yeah.
from you.
Yeah.
And so it's really important for people on my side, on the PR side, to understand that changing nature, keep up with the technology, keep up with these intermingled relationships and understand how that impacts the brand they're representing. And then for journalists to understand how they can manage their own brands and continue to grow their own readership by also being aware of these same trends and technologies.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of drives me crazy because as a journalist who has worked in PR, but as a journalist now, and I write for Forbes.com, so I'm online only. I have to write my headlines, I have to write my leads, I have to actually write my stories in a different way. So
Yeah.
the old days of just getting in the paper, as they used to say, getting in the paper, getting on, people go, oh, I want to get on the Today Show, Good Morning, getting the Times, getting the Wall Street. Um, you can't just get on the earned media in the same way, right? I mean, what's the big difference now?
So the difference is PR staffs and organizations to some extent used to have more influence over how they showed up in SEO with backlinks and domain authority and other strategies. That's much harder now with AI because AI gives more weight, and I believe they should, to
Yeah.
earned media because it's more credible. Are you more likely to believe a piece written by a company
Right.
or a news story that you read? And for me personally, I do both. I examine what a company is saying about itself, but then I also look at what earned media, using air quotes because that's a big definition these days with new
Right.
channels emerging,
Yeah.
but what podcasters and Substack people that I follow, as well as traditional media news outlets. And let's not discount the trades. The trades still carry sometimes disproportionate weight
Yeah.
with AI platforms because they are niche and specialized and therefore viewed as highly credible sources.
So it's a swath of anything you can get for free, right? Is that a good way to, I mean, is that valid? Is that a valid way to put it?
Help me understand your question. A swap of anything for free.
A
A
swath
swap.
rather.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no, not
Yes.
a swap. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's important to examine all channels, but what hasn't changed is starting with the strategy. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Who are the audiences that you're trying to reach? What do they read? What do they watch? What social sites are they on? And then design your strategy accordingly, and done right, it will all fall into place. So yes, you have to be aware of these trends and emerging channels, but you also have to stay true to what it is you are trying to accomplish, who can help you accomplish that, and how do you reach them. The
Yeah.
the formula is simple, the work is much harder.
It is difficult. And, when I was talking about having to even write differently, where I think someone that I spoke with a while ago explained that now a headline can't just be a headline with interesting wordplay, but it
Right,
has to actually answer a question people are asking on AI,
right.
which has changed the whole, I mean, it's just changed the whole format and the way of thinking. And so when you're advising your clients, I mean, does that come into play as to even the way they present the story to the media in hopes of coverage and sort of the terminology that's being used?
Very, very much so. As you said, we used to just churn out materials based on what it was the company said with not a lot of thought to how it would show up in a search. Now it sometimes starts with how do you want it to show up in a search and then write it in
Yeah.
that way using the language that the LLMs and AI platforms will recognize and pick up and therefore turn up when people start searching for your company or your product or your service.
Yeah. So that must really affect then two things. One, the way the story is pitched, and two, the way, say, a release is written. Does
Yes,
that bring about a whole new vocabulary?
it certainly does. And I have recent experiences with two clients of
Yeah.
releases that have all releases always go through revisions, but
Hmm.
it's becoming more important now to revise them based on how LLMs and AI platforms will pick it up versus just massaging the message, as we used to
Yeah.
say.
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it very much has changed how we think about writing content.
Sure. Sure. And I mean, look, for those of us that have had longer careers, which is, different way of saying we've been around for a while, it's a new game for us. And
Yes,
you always have to learn a new game. And some people, they're crabbing about it. Oh, I don't like AI, whatever. But that's the game, right?
it is
You-
absolutely the game changer die, right? I don't know
yeah.
whoever said that, but you
Well,
absolutely,
yeah.
if you want to have a successful career
Yes.
in media or in public relations, you absolutely
Sure.
have to keep up with trends and technology. And that's always been true, Ed. I'm also one of the older practitioners, and I
Yeah.
remember the days of dial-up and this
Yes.
newfangled thing called the internet. And
Yeah.
we all had to learn it, and we're not
Right.
native
Yeah.
users.
No.
And so that's always been true. I think what's different now is it seems to be developing so much more quickly. It's
Yeah.
almost exponential how fast it's
Sure.
growing and refining. And so when someone claims to be an AI expert, I just kind of laugh to myself because I don't think
Yeah.
there is such a thing. I think we're all learning.
Uh,
Some of us are further along
I,
the learning curve, but
yes.
I don't believe it's mature enough yet to have any true expertise.
I don't think, one of the things I saw somebody post on, I've seen a few posts on LinkedIn where people go, well, I'm very AI forward. And I'm going, oh, well, are you seeing anybody about that? I mean,
Yeah,
are you okay? You gonna be all right? But yeah, I mean, things change. See it change. I remember when social media, when YouTube first came on, I was
sure.
working
Yeah.
at an automaker, and I had one of the marketing people called out to me and say, "Can you remove all the negative comments?" I go, no, no, that's
It
not
is
gonna.
still, it is PR is still very much an education. That's part
Right.
of what I spend my time doing. I mean, we laughed about some people not understanding the difference between advertising and PR,
Yes.
and also not understanding when you do earned media, you don't control the story.
Right.
So some leaders are much more comfortable with their owned content, the
Yeah.
stuff they create and publish themselves, because then the story is controlled. But
Right.
you're missing a huge swath of audience
Oh,
by
sure.
only focusing on an owned content strategy. So it's both. That was one of my recent
Yeah.
LinkedIn posts. It's not or, it's and. Companies need to do
And
both. They absolutely should tell their own story and publish their own content, but they also should
yes.
have a robust, thoughtful earned media strategy that complements
Sure.
that
So,
uh, storytelling owned content strategy.
and that, I mean, that brings it about the whole subject of integrated media
Sure.
strategy. We're using, earned media, and then, as you said, you have own media, the earned media, and then there's other elements of that strategy where you share your stuff, right? And then
Right.
of course, advertising, which is paid media. You still need all those, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. And let's not forget about brand ambassadors too. The more that a company
Mm,
can create advocates for the brand, the
yes.
stronger and more visible their company story gets told, because that also influences AI and
Yes.
other search results. If you have other people saying good things about your product or service, and I'm not talking about
Hmm.
influencers. I have my own thoughts about people who are paid to pitch your product or service, but
Right.
people who truly believe in your brand and want to help spread the word. I just, in preparation for this interview, just did some quick research, and
Mm,
McKinsey found that word of mouth can influence up to 50% of purchase decisions in some
sure.
sectors. Now, obviously varies based on product or service,
Yes.
but that's it. That's pretty significant, and so it shouldn't be forgotten. And companies should do what they can to
Right.
bring in those brand ambassadors. And let's not forget that employees can be your best brand ambassadors if they're having a good experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we used to say when if somebody would go on social media and say something about your company or your product, and right away, the managers, "Hey, you got to jump in and say something," and you go, you know what? The community will police itself, and all
Right,
the types of
right.
people you were talking about, they'll jump in for you, and they'll
Yes,
carry in most cases, they'll carry the water for you, and that's more believable to the public, I think, than a company doing that
absolutely.
or not.
Absolutely. And you also in the earlier days probably remember social media guidelines where employees were
Yeah.
basically told
Yes.
not to publish anything on social media.
Right.
And now one of the services I offer clients is teaching their employees how to provide LinkedIn content in
Mm,
an authentic way, not scripted,
yes.
but giving them permission and helping them get comfortable
Yeah.
with, if they're already on LinkedIn, great. You don't have to be uh, about company content all the time, but when the company does something or offers something that has meaning to you, talk
Yes.
about it, share it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Help
Absolutely.
spread the word.
Yep. Yep. Do that. So let's segue into another, because we're talking about media strategy, but let's talk about you've also commented on LinkedIn elsewhere about the whole concept of media training and whether it's necessary in the way it's done. I'm just wondering what's your take on it, because I've participated in media training and been the victim of it. I'll tell you about that later, um, but the whole concept of it, why is that so important, and important to do it in the right way?
I have one phrase for you, Ed: lower value human capital.
Yeah.
The standard, for those who may not be familiar, the standard charter CEO was talking about lower value human capital in context of how AI will replace those jobs. And of course, nothing ever stays
Wow.
internal in closed meetings. It got out quickly, and the backlash
Yeah.
was immense.
Mm.
Um, and so just helping executives and other spokespeople be thoughtful before they engage in any kind of media or public conversation, public speaking conferences, whatever it is,
Yeah.
to just increase their awareness that nothing is ever off the record. All due respect to you as a journalist, nothing is ever off the
Yeah.
record. The
That's
mic
true.
is always on.
That's right.
And not that we want them to be so fully scripted that they come across as robotic. We want them to be themselves. We want their
Hmm.
personality to come through, but we want them to be thoughtful
Yes.
about what they're saying and how they're answering questions. Going back to GM days when I first started engaging in media training, we used to ask, what do you want the headline to be? It's your comment about headlines. What's
Hmm.
the headline you want to see? Or would you be comfortable seeing this published in the New York Times? And so the way I approach media training with clients is to give them some general guidelines. And usually it's in preparation for an upcoming interview so we can get more specific into things that are likely to be asked
Yes.
and how they would respond. And it's not, again, to just be repetitive with what your message is, but do it through storytelling, do it through how customers are benefiting from what you're talking about.
Yes.
Don't just be so self or company promotional. So it's really the nuances of working with the media, and drilling is what has the biggest impact.
Hmm.
I worked with an executive who I will not name, who was, when I first started working with him, was not very adept
Mm.
at media relations, but to his credit, he put in the time, and the
Yes.
difference year over year was night and day. And not just from the company perspective, but from the media's perspective too. He became a much more he's a smart guy, knew
Yeah.
his stuff, just had trouble distilling it into messages that would resonate with the audience that journalist was representing.
Hmm.
And so he became a much more engaging person
Wow.
to interview, and he started to get more comfortable with it.
Oh, that's great.
So that's the benefit. It's you want it to be a good experience for the executive and for the person or
Yes.
people that they're talking to.
You know, I'm glad, Noreen, that you said something about them being more comfortable because I was working for a company doing some of their media training, and as part of media training, you always do these mock interviews, right? And you put
Yep.
them through the
Yep.
paces. And person of the company goes, "I think you need to beat the crap out of them. You know, you need to be tough on them." I said, "Well,
Sorry.
okay. Now, as a reporter, I've done hundreds of thousands of interviews over the years, and 99.9% of them are not combative interviews. You're just trying to get information." And so my answer to that person was no, um, you only instill fear in them. And you don't want them going into the interview with fear. You want them to be, as you said, confident and conversational and concentrate on the messaging. However, if you anticipate uh, sort of a combative interview coming up, it's a tough issue,
Mm-hmm.
then of course ask the hard questions. But
Absolutely.
but but I was curious what your philosophy was about just getting in there and just beating the crap out of them in an interview and having them on the defensive all the time.
That's never productive either for the journalist or for his or her readers, unless that's the intent. There are certain outlets that we don't have to talk about
Yeah,
that go for that. That's their MO. That's what they want. They enjoy the combativeness. But
sure.
for the most part, mainstream working with organizations, fair hard questions are absolutely fair.
Hmm.
And executives should be ready to give honest answers to
Yes.
all of those hard questions. And if it's tied up in legal or there are reasons that they can't discuss it, it's fair to say, listen, I really can't comment on that right now
Yeah.
because of SEC legal issues
Right.
still working through the system, whatever it is. Don't just say no and get
Yeah.
huffy or upset that the question got asked. Stay calm
Right.
and be honest and as forthright as you can in the
Yes.
response.
Yeah. Yeah. It just seems to me, through different media training sessions I've seen them be part of, these poor people are, and I don't know how you do. They seem to be subjected to like a million PowerPoints of what the media is like, and then the mock interviews is sort of an afterthought.
Mm.
And I don't know. I think that that's where you should start. I mean,
It's absolutely the reverse, but Ed, sorry. My guidelines are very short, and the value of the training
Yeah.
sessions are those mock drill
Yes.
sessions where, again, if it's in anticipation of an upcoming event or an interview, we get specific. If it's
Yes.
just more general awareness, then I'll
Hmm.
usually start by showing clips of coverage of what their competitors or others in their industry have done and how they've handled it, and then
Yeah.
do a joint exercise of pointing out the good and bad of how that particular person
Good.
handled the interview and what they
Hmm.
could have done differently. One of the fun games I like to play with myself, Ed, is when I watch media interviews, I try to
Yeah.
anticipate the response.
Yeah.
And that's how I can, and you, I'm sure can too. You can easily tell
Yes.
who's ready, whether they went
Yes.
through formal media training,
Hmm.
and who is clearly lost at sea.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you a quick anecdote is years ago, was doing an interview for CNN with the CEO of a big financial services company. I won't say the name of it. And this guy was so media trained that he was like reciting answers.
Yeah.
So I stopped the interview in the middle and I told the cameraman to stop rolling. I said, "Okay, sir." I said, "You've been media trained, right?" He goes, "Yeah." And his PR guy is sweating it out. I go, "I'm not going to use anything you already said. We're going to
Hmm.
start over again, and you're going to talk to me like we're talking over coffee."
Right.
I said, "No one knows your stuff better than you do because you're the head of the company. So just tell me what you know. I'll ask you a question. You answer any way you like, and I bet you it'll be better." And we did it all over. And he went, "Oh, thank you. Those guys shrunk my head so bad." You know,
I, it's
I
clear
was,
when they're uncomfortable because they're
yeah,
overly scripted,
yeah,
right? There's, I guess, a balance between being prepared
yeah.
but not being overly scripted.
Yeah, well, the PR guy, he was just like cowering under the, "Oh, what are you doing?" And but the executive was so happy, and he was great after that. And we had a great interview, and it turned out okay. So you don't want to turn these guys into robots, as you said. You don't want them
Right.
just spitting out things they've memorized. So in the this has been great, and in the time we have left, why don't we just go back to your consultancy now, what, a little over, what, around 3 years old, almost
Yeah.
three
Coming up on
years.
3 years. Yeah.
And I'm just fascinated when someone goes off on their own. I mean, it's a real chance that you take, but it sounds like you got a great business going. And what are some of the wins you've had, some of your victories?
Well, thank you so much for asking it. As I mentioned at the start, I love the diversity of work and the diversity of clients.
Yeah.
So some of the recent things that I've done or I'm in the process of doing is I started working with a nonprofit to create some awareness, and we hosted a small community event where we thought we'd get maybe 25, 30 people.
Hmm.
We got more than 100 standing room only. It was
Wow.
fantastic. And we got some
Oh, that's
nice media
awesome.
coverage out of it as well. So everyone was very happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm working with a new client who's launching her first business later this summer. Stay tuned.
Wow.
So I'm writing and helping her with her marketing plan as she readies for launch. It's going to be
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah.
And then I'm working with another longer term client. In fact, one of my first ones since I started consulting on a pretty big cultural transformation inside her organization that's
Yeah.
substantive. Fortunately, one of the messages is not AI is coming for your jobs.
Yeah.
It's very different from that. Not that I couldn't coach a company through that as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I think it's being mishandled. But
Mm.
so from the really meaty substantive big change management to let's do a fun community event to bring
Wow.
everyone together to I'm launching a new business. Can you help me?
Yeah.
It's been great.
That's all. So how did you know? When you start something like this, right? You're starting basically from scratch. How did you
Right.
know in your mind? You go, "This is going to work."
I had always had it in the back of my mind that I was going to go out on my own someday.
Yeah.
And when we moved back to Michigan in 23, the job market was what it was, especially in auto. It's very cyclical, as you know.
Yes.
And I thought, well, I always thought about going out on my own. Why not now? So I just started talking to people. We moved in late summer, early fall. So I just started talking to people who had done it, who had thought
Mhm.
about doing it, um, advisors. Did they think it was right for me based on how well they knew me? And I got green lights from everybody go do
Yeah.
it. I got clients right away from people who had worked with me
Yes.
before. And so it's been cyclical. It's difficult,
Hmm.
as you know.
Yeah.
Being your own boss and running your own business, the
Hmm.
business comes and goes, and you always kind of have to
Yes.
be on the lookout,
Sure.
for down the road future pipeline building.
Hmm.
But as I said, I really love the work. I love the clients, and it is definitely the right path for me. It's not for everybody, but it's the right
Right.
path for me.
Well, awesome. Well, congratulations on
Thank you.
your success, and it's always great to talk to you.
Likewise.
I love reading the stuff you post on LinkedIn. I go, wow, I need to think about that. But making great points, smart points, and you get some great reactions out of it too. So, Noreen Pratscher, thanks so much. It's great to have you back on the podcast. We'll have you back again soon. You could be a regular. I'm gonna have to start giving out coffee mugs or something, or some little tchotch guy. I saw some guy post today that people in his company, if the salespeople, if they sell over $100,000 worth in a month, they get a baseball bat with their name engraved and how much they sold. So
Yeah, you definitely need the trinkets of trash, as we used to call it.
yeah, I need to. Well, I don't make any money doing
I don't have any either,
that.
Ed. So did I
It's all,
consider that a throwaway comment?
sometimes, you reach a certain age, you just do it for yourself. That's all. And if
Yeah,
if people
yeah.
enjoy it and get something out of it, that's the payback.
That's what I hope. I hope that thank you for your comments about my LinkedIn content. I do try to make it
Yes,
thought provoking. Not I don't
it
do
is.
clickbait. I don't get
No, no,
contentious for no reason, but I do try to be thoughtful
you
and
are.
my content. And to the famous journalist question about is there anything else you'd like to add? Speaking of media
Yes,
training,
yes,
everybody always ought to have an answer to that question. I would
yes.
just like to add thank you again for having me. It's been a
It's always a
delight.
pleasure.
And if anyone is interested in talking with me about the work I've been doing or have a need for what I can do,
Yeah,
they can find me on LinkedIn or through this episode. I think you'll find some way of sharing my contact info, correct?
I sure will.
All right.
I sure will. All right, Noreen Pratscher, thank you so much. And thank you all for watching, listening to this episode of Tales from the Beat. I'm Ed Garsten, and I'll be back soon with more tales. Take care.